Thank you, thank you, thank you. So first thing I got to ask is, how many one rental at a time fans do we have in the audience? Let me see you. Woo! Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. So what I'm going to do here in 20 minutes is first I'm going to collect some receipts on some things that I talked about last time, and then I'm going to hit 3 things in 20 minutes. So first and foremost, who was with us about 7 months ago in this exact location? So 7 months ago, I dropped some hard truths on you. I said, if you were doing well in this business, and many of you were, I told you that whatever was working was about to stop working. Some of you believed me, most of you did not. So I'm going to ask you here and collect some receipts. Was I right? It's a little bit different just 7 months later, 8 months later. So let me tell you what's going to happen next. Because again, I will collect receipts when we do this again. So about a year ago, the easiest thing to do was raise money. Simple. There were syndicators. You could do private money. You could go to a bank, right? Getting bank loans relatively easy. Well, getting loans from banks, non-QM lenders, private money, your friends and family, it's about to get harder. And on a scale of 1 to 10 today, right, 10's hard, 1's not. Today it's about a 6. It's going to an 8.5 or a 9. I don't think it's going to be as bad as 07, 08, 09, which when I was buying. Anybody remember when you can only get 4 loans? Right, today it's 10. I've been doing this a long time. So there was a time where you could only get 4. I don't think we're going to get that hard. That would be a 10 out of 10. But I think it's going to go to a 9. So either that scares you or excites you. And I'm here to tell you, you should be excited. Because what will happen going forward if lending gets hard, borrowing money gets hard, is the deals get better. Anybody excited about better deals? I'm excited about better deals. So if that's true, raising money is harder, getting loans is harder, but the deals get better. What do you have to do? You need to get better. You need to own your shit. You need to network more. You need to document more. You need to tell your story more. I've raised millions and millions of dollars and never asked for a penny. I simply document what I'm doing. It works. How many of you have tried to record content, talk about some deals, and you didn't do it a second time? I don't care how you do it, document your story. I've now done it twice. Back in 07, 08, when I was writing on BiggerPockets as a featured weekly blog poster, I started this little website called wealthbuildingpro.com. It doesn't exist anymore. I think there's copies of it you can find, where I was just writing my stories. And if people know my portfolio, I call it the Gumball House and the this house and the that house. I got 6 or 7 projects deep, and I had endless supply of money coming my direction from my friends and family, right? I was paying 10 to 12% interest, but we were buying deals where that made sense. So the first thing I'm here to tell you, getting loans is going to get harder, whether it be banks, non-QM, private money, whatever it is, but the deals are going to get better. As far as the deals are getting better, just to give you time frame, I don't like using sports analogies, but I don't have a better one because not everybody gets them. Let me just tell you this. Baseball games, generally speaking, are 9 innings, if you don't know. We are probably in the first inning of a 9-inning game. So how many of you heard about that 3,200 unit building in Houston, Texas? Right? About a year ago, a deal gets put together. That syndicator, general partner, raises $100 million from folks like you. That money got lit on fire. Right? These are the idiots. It was really easy to raise money. That deal would not be able to done because you don't buy that, C and D class properties and things of that nature. But when money is easy, dumb money follows unscrupulous operators. We're not there anymore. So again, document your story, whether it's writing, video, whatever it is. So that's step 1. Step 2, I obviously at One Rental at a Time talk about the economy a lot. Let's just tell you where we are. We're in a recession. I am on record saying I think it starts Q2. Will the Economic Bureau say it starts Q3? Sure, who knows? They won't call it for 9 or 12 months. They're lazy. But anybody feel like just business is slowing down? Right? I think we are in a recession. And again, this will be a long one. Recessions, typically speaking, are 9 to 18 months. And if we just started it, we're a month in. I think this is going to be shallower than the ones we've experienced, the Great Recession, the dot-com, but it could be longer. And again, if you're sitting there hearing me talk this and I say longer, you should get excited. Because again, I went through the Great Recession in this market. And as prices came down, less of you showed up to buy. I've been buying in Fresno, California since 2001. You know the time I had the least competition? 2010. I bought properties in Fresno, California for $28,000 because none of you showed up. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't think the opportunity that is coming is necessarily in single-family homes. The debt structure is different. We don't have all those bad loans. 98.5% of loans are 30-year fixed. Everybody's got something below 3%. So it is not going to be like the last time. However, I now believe the pain will be bigger. How can that be? Well, use Houston as an example. There was $100 million wiped off that in equity, and the bank took a $30 million haircut. We have heard about buildings I've talked about on the daily financial news that traded at 160 that got sold for 18. That's a 91% haircut. There's a lot of pain coming in the commercial market. I just spent thousands of dollars to go to an event in Vegas to be in rooms like this with 50 and $100 million operators. I was the smallest fish in that room. What they are telling me is the debt market is changing and the equity market is changing. There are banks, get this, that have performing loans. You made your payment, but you have this commercial term at 5 years or 7 years or 3 years or whatever it is, and it is your turn to refi. For a decade, it was easy. You send in your personal financial statement, they maybe do a drive-by appraisal, bingo, bango, new term, new rate, new term, good to go. Anybody hear about the banking crisis? A little bit? So there are now banks who have portfolios of office and retail that they don't want to foreclose on because they don't want to take a 90% haircut. However, they need to raise cash. So there's going to be multifamily operators who did nothing wrong, never missed a payment, that are going to be given a hard choice. My bank, I'll just pick on Wells Fargo. It's a big bank, everybody knows. I've had a relationship for 10, 12 years. I go to refi my 10-unit building, and they say no. Not only no, but I can't. I can't. I need the cash. We are seeing deposit outflows to money markets and treasuries, and I have to get my cash balance up to meet these new regulations in Joe Blow bank, bank regulation. So there are going to be good operators that are forced with a choice. So Wells Fargo tells me no. I walk it across the street to Bank of America. Bank of America is not as kind. They tell me hell no. Right? Then you go to some non-QM lender, and they go, yeah, we'll do it, but you got to do a cash-in refi. You ever hear of a cash-in refi? That'll be a fun check to write. Because they're not going to write the loan at 75% LTV. It'll be 55% LTV. So if you happen to have deep pockets or some friends and family where you can go to and ask for some money, you're going to get the loan. But it's going to be hard. And then here's the third one. There are going to be forced sales. And again, based on the event I went in Vegas, these syndicators, they don't really have any skin in the game. So they get this call from the bank, I can't refi this. They don't have skin in the game. What are they interested in? You know what a syndicator's number one job for the next 2 years are? Not to get foreclosed. Because if they get foreclosed on, they can't go to Fannie and Freddie. They can't get agency debt. All right, so you're a syndicator. You got some building in some state. You're now being told you have to sell it. All you want is the coverage to pay the debt. You give a rat's ass about equity. So who loses in that situation? The equity. But we are networking, we're shopping, we're looking around, we're doing the work, we have our buy box, we are telling everybody what we're looking for, just like Jason let us off. If you are not telling everybody what your buy box is, you are missing out. Okay? So a couple of things about this recession. A, I think it started. 2, it is about to get scary. Right? If you are watching the media, it's about to get really, really scary. When I see the media preaching fear, I sort of snicker on the sidelines and get excited. If you guys watched my channel last November, remember I talked about a Yahoo Finance article talking about 87% of buyers think it's a horrible time to buy. You ever remember that? That stuff pisses me off because it basically tells people not to do the work. So what did I do with the team at the Hub? I don't know if Adam's in the house. I haven't seen him yet. But he and I went out looking for deals. We bought 2 deals. We flipped them. We did the work. I documented the whole process. We made almost 90 grand just because I got annoyed. Right? It's kind of fun to do that. But again, when everybody gets afraid, nobody shows up. So you can door knock. You can do all this stuff. Guess where I found the 2 deals that I made 90 grand on? I'm a lazy-ass son of a bitch. I found them on the MLS. Everybody in this room could have found those deals. They were meat on the bone. And again, document the whole story. It's on the channel. When you guys get scared, I get excited. And the fear today is like a 2. It's going to 10 or 11. It has just started. So a couple other things about the economy is, A, I think the Fed has gone to the terminal rate. What does that mean? It means they're not going to raise anymore. They're at 5 to 5.25, call it 5.12. That's a good thing. What's going to happen here going forward is the economic data is going to get worse from here. Retail sales reports on Monday. I expect it to be a weak number. We're going to see the economy just sputter. The Fed's done. The Fed's not lowering, even though there's a lot of people calling for Fed rate cuts. I don't see that all year. They're going to break the Fed put, which really means we're going to punish the billionaires, which I'm all about. Punish those greedy son of a bitches. It's fine with me. But that's also going to create opportunity for us going forward, because right now, if you were going to go get a mortgage, do you know what the spread is between the 10-year note and the 30-year mortgage? I checked this morning. It's 308 basis points. Do you know what historical average is? It's 180, 175, 180 basis points. So if the Fed is done and we start getting weak economic data, what we're going to see going forward is I expect rates to come in. I expect the 30-year mortgage rate to be sub 6% by the end of August. It's going to help affordability a little bit. You know, it's going to increase the options, but again, it's not low enough to bring inventory. So what's going to happen is we're going to bring more demand, but no more inventory. So if you happen to be a flipper or somebody who could find deals like Jason, Dean, and everybody else in here, where I would focus is below the median. And I mean ARV below the median, right? If you know, anybody know what the Fresno median home price is? 385, 387, somewhere in there, right? You want your exit to be, say, 370 and below. That's the safest place to be. If you are the best flippers in Fresno, California, EVC Homes currently has that title. I don't see anybody coming for them. But if you are the best of the best, you can stretch that. But that is a danger. That's thin oxygen. That's thin air. Go where it's easy. First-time home buyers are the shit today. That's where I want to exit with stuff. Unemployment is going up. I can say that with confidence because we are at a 52-year low. 3.4% is a 52-year low. It is going up. It is probably going to 4.5% to 5% in the next 12 months. Scary. You know what? Let's say it gets to 5%. That's roughly 2.2 million people more unemployed. You know what that means? 95% of the people are employed. It's math, right? So when I got my econ degree, you guys know what full employment was? Beaten in our heads, right? Get my econ degree. 6% was full employment. So we're going to go from 3, 4 to 5. That's still below this theoretical 6% full employment. So again, it will be scary, but it won't be horrific. But if you were one of the ones that get hit, yes, it's scary, right? There's that old saying about it's a depression if you lose your job, it's a recession if your neighbor does. All of that is true. You guys haven't heard that one before? Wow, there you go. There's the definition of a recession and depression. Is it you or your neighbor? So again, all of that. So again, there's lots and lots of opportunity coming. I personally am focused on the commercial segment. And again, we're very early in this, but I expect lots of pain Q4, Q1, Q2 of next year. Network, grow your network, tell everybody your buy box, lots of opportunity coming. And then finally, in my final 5 minutes, I want to leave you with 3 steps to get wealthy. There are only 3 steps to get wealthy, and these steps can be repeated by anybody in this room. Are you ready? 1, you have to create dry powder. You create dry powder one of 2 ways. You either do it like Olivia and I did and get ridiculously focused on cutting expenses. If you heard our story at all, you know we went from spending every single penny we ever had to spending 50% of our take-home pay over about a 12 to 15-month period. That creates dry powder. I generally don't recommend. It's not fun. You look like a miser. It's not fun, but that's what I did, and I can't take it back. Or 2, you create more income. A lot more fun. Side hustles, whether it's following what all these great speakers will do. There's lots of ways to increase your income. Or you can do both. I have this thing called needs versus wants. If you want to do me a favor and you want to take the next step with you and your family, this is a family exercise. Go look at however you pay your bills, credit cards, debit cards, checks, whatever it is. Go back and look at the last 90 days. And sit down with your loved one and do a needs versus want assessment. Write an N for a need and a W for a want. And then do the math. That's how we cut our expenses 50%, is we got really, really focused on that. So again, step 1 of getting wealthy is create dry powder. Step 2, you need to become elite at something. I chose to become elite back in 2001 in 93703, the Mayfair district, 3 or 4 bedroom houses, 2 baths, 1 story, 2-car garage. I looked at my buy box every day for 3 years. Fresno is a massive city. I looked at 1/100th or 1/200th of Fresno for 3.5 years. By month 6 or 7 in that market, I could have out-talked any real estate agent, any broker, anyone, because that's all I looked at for 3.5 years. I don't care what you want to become elite at. I'm obviously started single-family homes. If you want to do multifamily, great. You want to do retail, great. Shoot, if you want to do crypto, go nuts. Whatever your thing is, become elite. Where I see most people go wrong creating wealth is you think you can do, you're a dabbler. Like, I'm going to do a little of this, a little of that, the shiny object syndrome. In the environment we are going into, you must focus on elite. You must become unbalanced. Right? Most of us, like myself, had a full-time job. I was doing 60 hours a week before I included travel time, which, again, if you know my story, I hate. But I was 60 hours before travel, and then I still found time every single day, most of the time, multiple times a day, to look at my buy box. You got to become elite at something. And then 3, time. It takes a decade to build wealth. You need to own the asset. You need to let inflation be your friend. You can't lose it, right? How many people came to some aspect of real estate in the last 3 years because you thought it was easy? If you heard me talking one rental at a time, I've had this heartburn around Airbnb. I think Airbnb is an amazing business if the asset is correct. I think there were too many gurus and these other folks out there preaching how easy it was and making fun of long-term buy and hold. Believe me, folks, I got receipts of folks telling me how much of a moron I was because I was only making $250 a month cash flow and they were netting 1,500. Well, let's talk now, motherfucker. So again, you got to be able to hold the asset for 10 years. So getting wealthy is 3 steps. You guys ready? 1, you have to build dry powder. Cut your expenses or increase revenue or do both. 2, become elite at whatever fires you up. Because when you are elite, you see things that others don't see. You see other opportunities that people don't see, and you can do deals. And then 3rd, if you're willing to do that for 10 years, you will be wealthy. Thank you, folks. That is one rental at a time. Take care.